This is WZDX News with coverage of Alabama's special election 2017 from your local election headquarters.
An exciting night for Alabama. It's election night and we are getting closer to finding out who our next senator is. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jen Jacobson.
And
We've got reaction of those numbers. Reporter Hillary Simon is in Montgomery tonight and we will join with her in just a little bit. But we're going to go and check in with our reporter Renata to see the national reaction happening right now. Renata. Right now we are awaiting reaction from Washington, D.C. We'll be sure to share it as soon as we get it. And as you know, the Senate seat was not the only seat on the ballot. The seat for State Representative District 4 is empty right now. Here's a look at the top three. The three Republicans are on the ballot for this primary. Looks like there will be a runoff in February because no one got 50% of the vote. Tom Fredericks has received 40% of the vote. Parker Moore 37%, and Tom Willis is at 23% right now. As you can see on the top right-hand part of your screen, 96% of precincts reporting. Those results mean Moore and Fredericks will have a runoff on February 27th for the Republican nomination. The winner of that race will face off against Democrat Juanita Allen Healy coming up on May the 15th.
And we are jumping ahead to another race here.
That's right, Madison County 4. It looks like the majority is for 72%, 70% of precincts reporting. And so that looks like it's going through. And voters in District 2 would also agree. Most people voted in favor for this measure. Again, 74%, with 70% of precincts reporting. And finally, taking a closer look at what folks want out at District 2 in terms of the $6.5 million, which is different. It looks like most people voted for this measure. So again, it's going on through. Thank you, Christina. Voters in Madison County had another important decision to make in today's election. The ad valorem tax renewal was also on the ballot. Back in September, the Madison County Commission approved a special election regarding its renewal. Just a reminder, the tax is not new. Voters had to decide whether they wanted to continue the tax that allocates funds for our schools. The renewal applies to all three county school systems, Huntsville and Madison City and Madison County Schools. Huntsville City Schools received about $37 million in funding from the ad valorem tax. And it looks like Madison County actually voted the majority for Doug Jones. So very historic night, no matter how you look at it.
That it is. But again, much more coming up on your news at 9. The clock is ticking on the tax code. See when our commander-in-chief wants to seal the deal on change. That's coming up.
Also, time for you to take your sky-high dreams to Huntsville's airport. See why city leaders want your 2 cents on the future of our skies. Maggie?
Now, a special report from WZDX News, your local election headquarters.
Welcome back. Reporter Lee Garner joins us now live where Doug Jones is expected to appear.
Lee, what's the mood down there?
Looks like we are having technical issues right now. We'll be sure to get back in touch with Lee as soon as we can. And taking a look outside now, I wish I could vote for some warmer temperatures if I could.
That would be nice if we could bring them here in a hurry. But, you know, it's not too bad. It may be getting a little colder. What's it looking like right now, Maggie?
Yeah, I like the snow. I don't love it, so I'm actually kind of glad that we are not seeing any colder temperatures with that rain coming in.
Yeah, no,
it is official. Doug Jones is our next senator. Let's go straight to the numbers. And the check mark that you see on your screen should really go with Doug Jones because the AP is calling it, Fox News is calling it. Even Doug Jones himself has already tweeted, "Thank you, Alabama." It is a very, very close race, as you can see on your screen. Roy Moore is falling short, 48.7% to Doug Jones with 49.7% of the votes, with it looks like 90% of precincts reporting at this time.
In the studio.
Definitely an interesting race. Thank you, Hillary. And I wouldn't be surprised if people wanted a recount. I know it's a very, very tight race now, but you might be wondering at home how people in Washington, D.C. are reacting to these numbers tonight.
Joining us from the newsroom tonight is Renata DiGregorio. She has been keeping an eye on the feeds and on everything, the social media, everything going on. She has that answer for us. Renata.
That's right. Once again, the winner will face off against Democrat Juanita Allen Healy coming up on February 27th. So stay tuned for that. that general election coming up May 15th. So if I could vote for some sunshine, I definitely would. Maggie, how's it looking out there right now? I know I can't, and Mother Nature has something different in mind.
Coming up in just a few minutes.
Definitely looking forward to that. Thank you, Maggie. And this just in, 44% of Madison County voters turned out today, so that is pretty interesting. And as we learned, Madison County actually, most of people voted for Doug Jones, so that's kind of historic in and of itself. You're looking at a slew of school taxes up on the ballot. As you can see, the majority actually voted for the measure. 74% are in favor of this. Let's check on the numbers in District 3 here. It looks like 77% of you voted in favor of this. Again, this is not a new tax, just a continuation of the 4 middle school district tax. If you're just joining us now, we are going to read the numbers again for you. It looks like Doug Jones has won it. The AP is calling it, as well as Fox News with 49.6% of the votes. Roy Moore falling short with 48.8% of the votes. So definitely a tight race here. Yeah, usually voter turnout's about 10%. So this is really big deal. I know a lot of us wish it was even greater than that, but historically this is definitely going down in the books.
It certainly is.
A special report from WZDX News, your local election headquarters.
Welcome back. In case you missed the huge news tonight, it looks like Doug Jones has won it with 49.5% of the votes. This is a huge deal. A lot of people watching this all across the nation, as you can see on your screen. They are celebrating, so happy with this news. Roy Moore fell short, 48.8%, and it looks like AP is calling this, Fox News is calling this. So we are almost solidifying this. 98.2% of precincts reporting, so pretty much seals the deal. Looks like Doug Jones has taken it, and it's a historic night no matter how you look at it. Now, you just heard the victory speech of your newest senator representing the state of Alabama. Doug Jones has sealed the deal, and taking a look again at the numbers now, we're seeing that he won it with 49.5% of the votes. Roy Moore fell short with 48.8% of the votes. And very interesting to note that the other candidates, they got 1.7% of the votes, so it's easy to kind of let your mind wander and think, hey, if these votes were allocated to either one of them, would it change the race? It's definitely a big question, definitely on a lot of minds. Maybe, you know, if they were Roy Moore supporters, because this could definitely change the game. Interesting to note that Doug Jones said that tonight marks his 25th anniversary with his wife. So definitely interesting, because this is the first time a Democrat has led Alabama in 25 years. So definitely kind of ironic tonight.
Yeah, those numbers. Jones.
That's right. And at last check, over 1.3 million people voted in this race. A huge voter turnout. Usually we're looking at 10% figure numbers, but way more, 44%. So definitely an interesting race. That is the conclusion of our newscast tonight. Thank you so much for watching your News at 9. And welcome back. Our Tennessee voters had some state offices to fill today. Here's the race for Tennessee State Senate District 14. Let's take a look here. Jim Tracy seals the deal with 74% of the total votes, leading by nearly 30,000 votes to Gail Jordan, taking home just 26% of the votes and 95% of precincts reporting. And in Tennessee, the winner was the same. Here are the final numbers here. Donald Trump seals the deal with 66% of the total votes, leading by nearly 700,000 total votes to Hillary Clinton's just 31%. The Democratic candidate snagged 613,875 of the votes. And in third place, the Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson with just 3%. And Jill Stein falling short to 1% there, with 83% of precincts reporting. And let's take a look at Colbert County Commission District 3. Dean McCormack is falling short with 42% of the total votes. The Republican candidate snagging 1,711 votes to Jimmy Gardner, who is on top with 58% of the votes. Now the Democratic candidate leads by 698, so also a relatively close race there with 81% of precincts reporting. Now next is Colbert County Commission District 5. Daryl Bendall leading the race with 62% of the total votes. He leads by 840 votes to Roger Creekmore, the Democratic candidate, falling short by 38% of the total votes with 81% of precincts reporting. Let's get right back into the results and move to Lauderdale County. First up is 11th Judicial Circuit Judge Will Powell, and he is leading with 65% of the total votes and 1,089 total to be exact Wilson Mitchell falling short with just 35% of the votes, 15% of precincts reporting as of right now. And now taking a look to Tennessee State House District 92, Thomas Tillis takes the cake with 74% of the total votes, leading by more than 10,000 votes to Tamara King. The Democratic candidate snags 26% of the total votes, and as you can see on the top right-hand corner of your screen, 95% of precincts reporting there. Yeah, I feel like today's weather kind of matched the mood for anybody who didn't really like the election results of what we've seen so far.
A little
cloudy out there.
A little gloomy, a little
Yes.
cloudy, but no worries, sunshine and happiness will eventually return.
I like
tomorrow.
that.
We can all vote
right.
for that.
Yes.
Well, long lines did not stop some Huntsville voters from casting their votes. We'll take you to one of the longest waits in Huntsville coming up next. Stay with us. And next up is Lauderdale County Board of Education. Place 2, Terry Holden taking the lead with 78% of the total votes, leading by 665 of the votes. Carolyn Waterman falling short with 22%. The Democratic candidate taking home just 265 as of right now, with 15% of precincts reporting. And for the Lauderdale County Superintendent, John Haddon is taking the lead with 53% of the votes to Jennifer Brown Gray, who's taking home just 47% of the total votes. A relatively close race as well, with 15% of precincts reporting. Yes, and taking a break now from that, looking outside, some cloud coverage in the 50s and 60s. Maggie, what more can we expect for the night?
Well,
Great, thank you, Maggie. And as a reminder, we have the election results rolling at the bottom of your screen at all times. And also just check out RocketCityNow.com for any updates.
And we have much more to come here on your election edition of your WZDX News at 9, including some results from the volunteer state. Stay with us.